Hello and welcome back to Talent League R6. That's right. We've been away. We've had a break. We've had our champions crowned, but we're back with Season 8 action. It is day one, the opening game of the season, and here to join me for this wonderful matchup, it's going to be the one, the only, it's going to be Sugar. How are you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling great. First day of the season opener. We got
It
some
is.
returning teams coming in, as well as some new teams coming in through the qualifiers, and also being promoted from last season's from last season's minor league. And so we'll get to see all that talent. It's in the name on showcase here today.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's always lovely to see not only teams returning, but those new teams coming in to see what they can bring to the table and if they can challenge some fan favorites from last season. For those who aren't quite aware, what we might be referring to, our matchup today is the Blue Jays talent taking on the Chillwagon. And Chillwagon, they came in through our Season 8 qualifier. They showed what they can bring to the table. They showed some aggression, some fast play, and they've made it here to the major division. Blue Jays, on the other hand, are last season's Goldinis from the minor league. They fought their way up. They finished at the top. They played through that playoff bracket and they made it to the major division. Once again, just continuing that climb forwards. And I'm sure, we spoke to Cox, the captain of Goldinis, now the Blue Jays. They'll be looking to bring some more fire. They'll bring a little bit of pizzazz to the league and they'll be looking to finish at the top. Do you reckon they can win their opening matchup though today?
I think so. They made a pretty deep run in the Titan series. The
Yeah.
last in the last Titan series that was like really, really recent. And then also they made a bit of a run in the Champion series as well. But before we get into today's matchup, Golu, I do want to go into the map bans. And
Hmm.
you know, we got theme park band, we got skyscraper band, some of the newer maps out of the poll. Not so new, but still pretty new. And we have Clubhouse as our decider. No surprise.
Yeah, and I think this is always a good one to start off on the season, right? Clubhouse, a map which is changing slightly over time as teams adapt, but for the most part, the fundamentals stay the same. I'll be hoping to see a little bit of bar stock get brought in, just because that's one of the really fun sights to see as teams trying to figure out how to make it work. And we're seeing more and more of that happen at the major, for example. It was a site that teams leaned much more into, kind of leaving the old cache server, what used to be such a staple, to the wayside just a little bit. But before we jump into this, we got our ban phase. Before we see who's gone, we should quickly mention the vote predictions. Because Blue Jays were massively favoured over Chillwagon in that prediction. Only one prediction in favour of Chillwagon. And we've definitely seen it in the past, right? Where people all go one way and get shown completely wrong. And I think Blue Jays, being that old Goldini's core coming in today, that's why there's so much going for them. But you never know.
Yeah. You never know for sure. I mean, the thing about Chillwagon is, and I think this is the reason why a lot of us in the staff voted for them as well, is because we don't really know them. Whereas with Blue Jays talents, we've seen them play before. We've seen the talent that they have on this team. We've seen them play in the Titan series. We've seen them play in the
Yep.
minor league. We've seen them play in the Champion series. We know their potential. We know that they can make a pretty deep run in the major league. It's just how far are they willing to take it. This is they're really their best opportunity at the beginning of the season to not only show us what they're capable of, but also their fans, the viewers, what they're capable of as well. Because this is a game that they're expected to win. But looking at the bans, there's no surprises apart from the Thatcher being banned first. Of course, with the EMP impact grenades being introduced, a lot of people betted that Thatcher would be banned a lot less because there's really no reason to ban him now that EMP impact grenades are in play. Thermite seems to be more believable on the attacker band side of things just because he's really good at getting most of the walls open around Clubhouse, and you know how crucial heart breaching is. And then you get into the defender bands, and there's no surprise with Valken. Kite is there.
No, I think it is interesting to see that Thatcher get banned out, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
last night was the debut of the new EUL season, and we managed to go through the whole Playday without seeing that Thatcher get banned. Someone who was up in the 70, 80% ban rates before. So, this EMP obviously giving teams a little bit more flexibility. Whether that actually shows through, whether teams start to use the EMP charges and are able to kind of expose the floor and you don't need that Thatcher anymore, we'll start to see those bans drop away. But there's a decent number of operators who have access to it. I believe there's 10 of them now, and I mean, Sledge is one of them. Obviously, the frag grenades are going to be the tool you go to just a little bit more frequently.
You know, also to note alongside Sledge, I know that also Dokkaebi, Monty, Lion, Osa, you know, just to name a few, some of those other operators that are not common, but still you do see teams bring them out just a little bit more. I think there is another one on there, I'm not sure, but I do know that those are the other operators alongside Sledge who has those. But even though the EMP impact nades are on Sledge, I don't see a lot of teams bringing them out, and for obvious reasons. Grenades are still a thing, and so with Sledge, grenades are very synonymous with his kit, though along with the EMP impact changes there were also the nade nerfs as well, because a lot of people were complaining about that being naded from below too commonly. A lot of people asked for yellow pings to be removed, and instead, you know, the radius for the grenades got nerfed. The damage got nerfed just a little bit when you're nading from below, and so you have to be a little bit more precise with those things now.
Also interesting to see the Zofia rocking the AR. It feels like it's been almost a year since we've seen that as an option that players have kind of leaned into. The LMGE been the favorable weapon for so long now, but the changes to those LMG recoil patterns in the last update definitely make that a little bit more favorable, as well as the recoil that used to be a little bit ridiculous, just being toned down a touch. This control, though, for Blue Jays, well, they're going to open that up with a kill. It's Icox finding it onto the Jaeger of Malkazin, and that gives them a little bit more control around these secret stairs. The swing was very fast, very unpredictable, and caught the Jaeger off guard. A7's, well, he's just going to back away a little bit. This generator control, it's not in the hand of the attack, but with that Kapkan backing off, with the defense leaning into these rotation holes to try and just deny any information onto the actual site, it does give a bit more of an opening for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, Blue Jays are easily taking map control, and that's partly due to the fact that Chillwagon are not really trying to contest any of the areas where the Blue Jays are pushing. Usually teams, at least teams who like to roam across this map of Clubhouse, they usually like play around the middle to second floor area. You see some teams even set up with the castle towards strip club. Chillwagon aren't doing any of that. Instead, they're moving down inside of the site, and Blue Jays talent, they already have a lot of map control on this middle floor area. They're getting hatches open. They also got the first pick, got some control over my secret, and Chillwagon are just sitting ducks here waiting for the impending push from Blue Jays talent. It's all about watching where these entrances are coming from and being quick on the trigger, quick on those flicks, accurate on those flicks as well. And there goes one from just there behind the mirror window.
Only will get traded out. A7 still able to drag that numbers parity back, but will get shut down by JSR on the bomb. Again, these refrags coming in fast and rapid. Lenovo and JSR are the last two remaining in the 2 versus 2. 13 seconds. It's Dano looking to try and rotate around. His teammate's able to get the kill onto the Zofia, though, and, well, never mind. Dexia just pushes in, takes generator control away from the Zofia, and lands the double kill needed to bring them the first defensive round. An excellent play, just using that pressure, using the that tension that's in the air whenever that diffuser's going down to take that opportunity to push onto Lenovo in the 1 versus 2 effectively, right? Because his teammate is just sticking that diffuser.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think as well for Blue Jays talent, you know, running low on time, you know, the thing about that push was that they got map control pretty easily just due to the fact that Chillwagon weren't roaming around the map. And so with that, they kind of wasted a lot of their own time trying to break down the defense, and they couldn't really make their way inside of the sites because Chillwagon were so disciplined in just holding the angles and holding the entrances inside of the site. So really nice first defense there from Chillwagon. Their secondary site choice is going to be towards this master bedroom gym area, and this is a site that, you know, when you look at the 2 top 4 sites, Cash, CCTV, and Kids Bedroom, a lot of, not Kids Bedroom, but Gym Bedroom instead, a lot of teams go to the Gym Bedroom, and for obvious reasons, you get that wall open in CCTV Cash, you can just get a free plant and play the post plant far away, so, you know, you don't see a lot of CCTV Cash for that same reason.
It's a lot harder when the attackers have that control of garage and the breach open to contest the plant, to try and deny it. And you rely on tools like C4s and smoke canisters and yokais, which aren't always the most reliable, right? You'd rather have the more active presence and denying it. The Maverick already trying to open up, or at least apply some pressure onto this construction wall, just to make it a lot harder to fall back. And you can see, going on that upside down rappel, the angles you're able to draw down onto the feet of the smoke there as he's trying to fall back, because you can see JSR opening up this wall to try and apply as much pressure as possible onto the top of red to deny Denio this space that he wants to play in. The frag grenade perfectly landing at his feet, gets the injure. Not the final kill. They might not even be aware that he has been taken out of action for the time being. But when they drone that out, the second grenade will do just that, as well as Maverick adding to the scoreboard as he just finds yet another one through this angle, just applying so much pressure, denying anyone to reinforce their teammates over inside of Cash. I love the way that they've cut off all forms of rotation for Chillwagon.
Bomb located by
Over by Cash CCTV. There goes the first kill. There goes the second there for BLUEJAYS. 1v3. Still very clutchable now. Maybe 1v2 if he can confirm that kill, but he backs off just a little bit. Hunkers down inside of construction. And at the moment, BLUEJAYS talent, they're just chilling out a little bit. Last killer, can he get revived here? Looks like Icox can't really get to him. Nope. Now 1v2 BLUEJAYS right in front of the kitchen bedroom. Ooh. Icox.
Not quite enough.
Not quite enough. Icox just rotating right in front of the gym bedroom window, or the gym window, just in time to catch the mirror out in the hallway. And that could have gotten real nasty if Icox wasn't there.
He got the quadra kill, right? He was able to secure the pick onto the last player inside of Office, inside. And it's just like, you get into that position, the 1 versus 1. When you're on the quad, playing for that ace, you're feeling it, you're hyped up, your team is backing you, they have so much confidence. And you're looking at a weapon like the Vector, I mean, that's a monster of a gun, the fire rate. The ammo capacity is enough to take these pre-fires in the 1 versus 1 situation. So Icox just managing to get into that situation in the nick of time to support, using those frag grenades to prevent the rotation into bathroom. Great play from the team, just coordinating and calling it out in the end, but it should have been so much tidier. A 5 versus 1. They were in a 5 versus 1, and BLUEJAYS is able to just find so much value.
And it's just BLUEJAYS talent isolating those 1v1s against the mirror. I understand it if it's like 1, maybe 2 players dying, but almost 4 of you guys dying, taking those 1v1 engagements instead of just maybe playing together more as a team. You know where the last player is. You can use that intel in order to just either box them out of sight or just push them all together, because he can't shoot all of you at once. So I thought that was pretty poor from BLUEJAYS talent to let it get that close, but Icox again being the savior. And one thing that I do want to talk about when it comes to BLUEJAYS talent is just Icox, his clutch factor and what he brings to the team, not only as an IGL but as a player himself. He can not only frag out, but his clutch potential is so good. But speaking of kills, last killer is also another deadly player on his team who can frag out when you need him to.
Well, the first pick, once again continuing to go in BLUEJAYS' favor, as they found 3 within the opening 45 seconds. A7 holding this angle tight onto the sledge, who's trying to take the swing, eventually forced to fall back, because, again, you want to try and play off of each other. You want to try and play for these refrag potentials. BLUEJAYS dead. He was the clutch factor last round. They need someone else to step up to the plate if they want to win this round. But BLUEJAYS using this frag grenades to try and force Mal out of this position inside of logistics. He's been hit quite a bit, but he's pinned in the corner. They're watching the angle and he can't fall back. A7's being forced to pop the Toxic Babes just to buy a little bit more time, but ultimately isn't able to get in a position to support their comrade, who eventually will fall to Mudder. Well, the 1 versus 5 will be needed again. The Toxic Babe going out, but he can't even find one. The sledge just pushing through the tick damage, looking for the final frag, and rewarded with it.
It's that CCTV cash hold just crumbling so quickly due to just a flurry of kills from BLUEJAYS talent on that side of the map. I felt like maybe the Alibi played that a little bit too aggressively, but I don't blame her at the same time, because she didn't have a lot of support from the top of red stairs. Nobody was there watching and jumping. Nobody was helping on that side of the map, and you just saw so many bodies hit the floor.
Defenders,
And
protect your bombs.
they're not gonna try gym
by
bedroom
attackers.
again because that was a flawless, and they've lost it 2 times in a row. So now they're gonna go back to basement. They're not trying CCTV cache, of course, for obvious reasons, but also you mentioned it as well before we even got into the match. Bar stage, and when I think of Clubhouse, I really do love the bar stage side. I think it's my favorite site on this map, just because there's so many different ways that you can hold it. You can hold it from the top floor. You can have a lurker in basement. And I understand why some teams maybe don't like it. You feel safer on gym bedroom, you feel safer on basement, but I do like to see bar stage in that rotation a lot more, especially when it comes to teams in Talent League in particular, because I feel like I don't see it enough.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
It's one of these interesting kind of parts of the game, right, where it's you don't play it because you don't feel massively comfortable on it, and defense haven't quite figured out how they want to hold on to it. But if you can find something that works for you, a lot of teams aren't prepared to attack into it either. And so you're looking at a situation where, on theory, this might not be the strongest site on the map, but the ability to, or the inability, I should say, of your opponents to deal with it, make it a lot more effective than it otherwise might be. It does suggest to me that Chillwagon do not feel comfortable playing this site, though. Otherwise, I feel like we might have seen it earlier. If you get absolutely clapped in round 2 on gym bedroom and choose to go back into it only to get clapped again, I mean, we have to see something else come out if BLUEJAYS are unable to take this round as well. Chillwagon, though, they did win it last time, so we should give them some credit, as BLUEJAYS unable to find such an early opening pick in this round. Chillwagon playing a little bit more conservatively downstairs.
They did this in the very first round on the same site where they didn't roam on the first to middle floor. They gave up map control pretty easily, and then they just play around their guns as BLUEJAYS talent just converge around and into the site. And they did that last round. It worked pretty well, especially with, I believe it was, I can't remember, I think it was Bait Zera to get the 2K with the Malusi down in blue, finding those kills, just working off of not only just good game sense, swing on to the person who's trying to defuse and whatnot. But for BLUEJAYS talent, the main thing that bit them in the ass in that last round, or in the very first round of this game, was the time factor. They get the map control, they get the first kill and all of that good stuff, but they're running low in time and they rush themselves and they end up funneling into those crossfires, into those angles that Chillwagon are holding. So hopefully with the map control that they do have now, learning from their mistakes from the very first round, it doesn't happen again.
Well, the kitchen hatch starting to be popped open, a minute left in the round, and unlike the first time they were attacking, unable to find that opening pick through secret, which means that there's still generated presence for the side of Chillwagon, making it a little bit harder for BLUEJAYS to walk down to get any sort of foothold on the bottom floor. You can see they're still playing for control over the main stairs, but so far not quite having it. The mirror window doing a good job, but then we see the Moto hatch drop. The first pick does go in favor of Chillwagon though, as it's Icox down, the Yana out for the count. Nice cheeky hole there being held by the Capcan, but the frag grenade able to get one, another through the wall as Dexit is able to trade it out, and the position on the mirror window has been taken up once again. JSR dropping only to his doom. Lenovo is off the table. A7 now applying so much pressure. He just has nothing else to do. JSR, the last man standing in the 1 versus 3. Little time on the clock. It's looking rough from this position. I mean, you just got to try and take as many gunfights as you can. The mirror window watching your location. Gets one onto the rotation side generator. Looking for the swing. Trying to find it onto the mirror window, but can't quite get it. The Capcan trap providing some issue getting into the doorway. 2 different angles that you have to deal with. And Dexter, once again, this late rotation into generator paying off massively for his team.
Again, the same issue that we saw on basement in the very first round for BLUEJAYS talent. Get all the map control that you can get. I sound like a broken record at this point. They get all the map control that they can get, but again, they keep funneling into these angles. They keep finding ineffective ways to deal with these angles that Chillwagon are holding against them. Like, they're not using their utility the way that they probably should, and they find it very difficult to clear these angles that Chillwagon are holding, and then they're running low on time yet again. Now Chillwagon, they win the basement site 2 times in a row. Again, they're not gonna go to bar stage as their secondary. They're not even gonna try gym bedroom. I keep calling it kids, but gym bedroom again, because they've lost it twice in a row. So they're gonna try the next worst thing, which is CCTV cache in Clubhouse.
Yeah, and look, we talked about this site being one that attackers are very comfortable with, right? It's what I would call your default checklist bomb site across any map. When I think of ways in which you attack as a team, this is the site where you just have your little list of things that you want to do for a standard take, this is, and you just do those things in order, and it works, not perfectly, but very well. You want to get that main breach open. Maverick hasn't been banned away. You have that tools, and Rapton is bringing that to the play, right? You can open up that wall very efficiently. You've got the Zofia to use the explosives in her launcher, just to make sure you have access to the site. Then you'd want to take that garage control. And yes, they haven't got that secondary hard breach gadget, nor a secondary hard breacher to make the most use of the garage wall, but you've got the Monty, who can push in and is such a dangerous presence, where if you draw too much attention onto the Monty, someone else can come in and get a refrag. If you don't pay enough attention to the Monty, he gets real close to you very fast.
Also, another thing to note, I think I mentioned this as well, is the fact that Monty does have those EMP impacts. Gonna opt out for those smokes, which I think is a better choice for CCP Cash. And it's gonna put some pressure onto the top of Raptors. The Maverick hole just biting Dexter in the ass there as the Monty acts as that figurehead, distracting these defenders and making them look away from these important lines of sight that the attackers created, though Dennis here at the bottom of Garage. Icox finds another, and that's another player left and Raptor just dealt with. That Raptors control easily going in hands with Blue Jays talent. They get this wall open, they run into sight, and now Denia, the only kill so far in this round, is left in a 1v3. He's being sprayed at. He sprays back, but can't find the kill. Lenova on the top of these red stairs is able to confirm the round for Blue Jays. And it's now 3-2. Very close game so far. But it's mainly close because of those basement defenses that Chillwagon keep running.
Tale as old as the prequels. When you got that high ground advantage, it's so difficult to overcome, trying to jump up to the top. And we just saw it happen there. You get the legs taken away from you, you can't draw the right angle to land the head. Never quite the ideal situation to find yourself in, and especially on an operator like a Rooney, right? Where oftentimes you'll see someone like, well, anyone with a nitro cell playing below, because you have that option to detonate it, not on a Rooney, not something that she can bring in the loadout, but it does mean that you're playing her below to support the top garage players. We just saw that Monty push in so quickly that, yes, there was that really nice opportunity where perhaps they were able to draw an angle onto the shield. We saw JSR take a little bit of damage, but ultimately it wasn't enough to force him out of this position. It wasn't enough to force him right back, because the swing from the teammate came in just to shore up that position. And with Icox playing on the rappel, using those horizontal angles that have been made by the Maverick, it's so hard for the players of Chillwagon on Rafters to find good enough space to move to effectively counter the shield. And that was ultimately the problem, is that they just lost out so much space inside of the server that any support towards garage was just cut off. You can't use the green box angle against the shield because you shoot into the shield.
And that was precisely the issue. You saw like the zombies scramble for space until there wasn't no space anymore, and they got shot in the head from the Maverick, like you mentioned. And again, it's just not being able to deal with the Monty properly. They use 2 of their impacts early on. They bring 6 impacts inside of this round, so there goes the adjustment there from Chillwagon, bringing an extra set from Dexter, playing on the bottom side of Garage, whereas Malcolm is on the top of Rafters. Again, they only use 2 impacts. They still have 4 left. Malcolm looking to put more pressure, using those zombie barricades to waste more time. But again, the first kill ends up into Blue Jays talent's hands.
I do love this Kiba that's been thrown out by Malkazan just to try and slow down any progress up the staircase. You can't afford to de-shield to melee it. It relies on someone else, and well, there go both your explosive charges. The concussion's finally coming in, but if anything, it's just hurting the Monty's position. You're going to throw another one off to force back any retreat, but as the Monty in this position, you don't want to fall back. You want to keep on pushing forwards, press your lead. JSR continuing to be hit by these Pokeballs, but not giving up any space. You've got to commend the bravery. He's just continuing to walk and apply as much pressure as he possibly can. Lamai looking for an angle to try and get the feet. Eventually, it will happen. A well-timed impact grenade with a double swing. and there's no one else applying enough pressure. I feel like when they're so focused on Monty, you want to be pushing in hard and fast. Dexia does eventually take a little bit of damage in the bottom of Garage, but he's still alive. He's still putting pressure, still denying this entrance through the doorway, and we're starting to see Blue Jays just stalling out for time.
Yeah, again, they did this on the 2 basement attacks that they were attacking on, and this is what I'm talking about. They don't really have an idea. Their idea kind of falls short, and then poop. Time starts to get wasted. Time starts to get low. Then it's like 10 seconds left and they're trying to run in and try to do something. It's already too late. Chillwagon know exactly where you're coming from. And again, in that situation, Amati just didn't have enough support. He did his job. He attracted the attention of the players playing on Raptors. And there was nobody else left to support him. If the player on the top of Red doesn't do his job, neither does A7 swinging 2v2, now 2v1. It's just chaos. It's Dexter this round. It looks so good for Chillwagon, and it flips on its head. Blue Jays with the advantage. They know the last player's in Garage. The Fuser's also down at the top of Garage stairs, so he can't plant. This is perfect from Dexter. He has to pull the pistol out, doesn't know where the last player is, and he still finds the kill! It's Chillwagon to tie it up on halftime. How?
Cracking shot with the Caritas just to seal the deal there, but again, you're looking at a situation in the 2 versus 1 for Blue Jays where you can force that advantage, go to 2 different spots, even if you both jump down and just send it over the side of the rails. Just create that opportunity where he can't take one gunfight at a time. Because yes, you're down to the pistol at the end, but if you can land the shots with the Caritas, you're still dealing 63 damage a pop. That's enough to hit 2-tap any operator in the game. You're gonna go down to it. So you gotta just be a little bit more careful in those situations, and Chillwagon able to drag another round out that defensive half. And I have to be honest, I think the play at the start, using those keepers to slow down that Monty as much as they did, and then not being pressured out, just taking those impact grenades and throwing them at the feet to disorientate the shield, that for me is what turned that round around from last time, because the wall still got opened like it did the first time around. There was still that pressure denying the rotation from Cash towards Garage to lend assistance. They just dealt with the problem much better.
10 seconds remaining.
All Blue Jays talent. They didn't have an answer back to Chillwagon once the Monty went down. Once the Monty got out pressured, Blue Jays talent struggled to put pressure literally anywhere else. And that was their main source of income through that Monty. And them losing the Fuser at the top of Garage stairs lost them that round, plain and simple. Because you saw the last 2 players in the 1v2 scramble for the Diffuser, and they couldn't get to it because Dexter played his position to perfection. Got the 2 kills at the bottom of Garage, and Blue Jays talent lost out. So now they don't get the lead at the halftime, but they do get the more favorite side of defense on Clubhouse. So I mean, there goes a plus side for them, but Chillwagon make this a close game for now.
Just trying to deal with this aggressive roam from Blue Jays. They were playing on the top 4. We saw Lenovo going for that cheeky peek out the server wall, using the shotgun to open a bit of a hole for himself. Was countered pretty quickly, and instead he took a little bit of damage. Not enough to really cause any problems. You can still see he's on about 100 HP, but now they have to be a little bit more careful. Interesting to see Icox on the Wamai playing on this roam upstairs at the top of main. Just waiting to see if this attack are going to push him out. Been a little bit slow from Chillwagon, right? You'd expect with a minute in, you've kind of got that top floor control, or you're at least at pushing people out. But that's just about entering in towards Cash. In fact, they're not even dealing with any presence on the top floor, which opens up opportunities for late round flank.
They allow SR to continue his roam. Or no, yeah, JSR to continue his roam. Or actually, I'm lying. It was one. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. But Lenovo's still existing onto this top floor. He can easily get a flank down if Chillwagon aren't too careful. At this point, you know, with the droning that they've done, they've taken the time to drone out the map just a little bit. They should know about his position. They even lit him up just like a little bit on that 2nd floor, so they should know that he's around the area and they should be careful of their flanks, but they're not. I could see the Rogue, I could see, like, you know what Crine did, Rogue versus Base in the grand finals of the EU Major. That's what I see happening. But they find the first kill, Chillwagon onto Icox, and you lose that Wamai, you lose those impacts, you lose the Wamai death. Most importantly though, you lose a player, you lose a body. And now Blue Jays, they feel that pressure. 35 seconds left.
Yeah, it looks like they're going for this kitchen hatch drop, using that buck to clear out most of the space below. Good use of the 2X to try and get a little bit deeper sight towards the bottom of boxes, but does take the majority of the damage in exchange as the sprays from the Thunderbird reward with a kill onto Dex here, nearly getting a second one as the Cabana's brought so low, 15 seconds, they're going to be forced to drop straight on down, and as they do, they're able to find the kills required as they get 2 very quickly afterwards. The plant going down in the back corner, it's really hard for the defense to reach it. Blue Jays able to get 1, but it's wrapped in the smoke in a 1 versus 3 situation. That SMG-11, not the ideal tool for a clutch, especially against multiple members due to its low mag count. Being forced to reload, backing off towards secret stairs, is aware that there might be one playing around AKs. The spray will give that location away, but quickly and smartly moving away, just ducking from cover to cover, just to try and eliminate the chances of being found out. That suppressor will help a little bit. Now it's a more viable attachment site, but you can see the sprays just continuing to lock the smoke in position, and I love the way Chillwagon are playing so patiently, not giving up any space. No one's overextending, and finally they all collapse together, and that rewards them with the final kill there. Great attack from Chillwagon. Despite looking like it might have left themselves with a little bit too little time, ultimately comes through.
They put pressure onto the site when they need to, but as you guys can tell, with our beautiful faces now back onto the screen, we are... Yeah, no, it's dark for you, yeah. But we are having a rehost, as it was confirmed by our observer. But the thing about that round, compared to what I noticed from the Blue Jays attack on that same site, was the fact that when Chillwagon needed to attack, they attacked in numbers, and they attacked effectively. They were able to get the plant down inside the site. They were able to plant, or not, they were able to play the post plant. Obviously, they got the plant down. But, and then you saw from Blue Jays' talent, with the way that their defense was set up, they had a player on the roam. That player probably was a little bit too passive and didn't apply much pressure to the back line and make a backline of Chillwagon and make them worry about him just a little bit too more, like you would commonly see for defenders if they are roaming by themselves like that. You got to keep it into the back of the attacker's minds that you're there at all times. And I just felt like maybe for Blue Jays' talent, with the mute by himself on the second floor, he didn't do enough of that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point to raise, right? Is that what value are you getting for the time that you're stalling out? And it's interesting to me because so much time was wasted by Chillwagon. I think wasted is a little bit of a harsh word, but I can't find something in the middle, right? Where they spent a lot of time setting up around the site. They didn't find any picks for it. Right? They didn't get the first kill until just under a minute left in the round, which when you have that pressure all around the map, when you had players who were roaming on the top 4 trying to disrupt you a little bit, if you didn't play into them, it still took you that time. The fact that they didn't lose anyone is actually kind of remarkable because you're in a situation where there are opportunities for these defenders to slip down staircases, to come back above you and use holes that they might have set up in the prep phase or use impacts to just redecorate a little bit of the map and just find these important picks. And I mean, when they drop that hatch, they just seem to find every kill needed to set themselves up safely. And I think you have to give a lot of props to them where in that kind of panicky situation, right, when it's crunch time, there's 15 seconds left on the round, and you're just dropping hatches and finding the exact kills you need to make that plant safe. That's just really well done from them. And I think it shows a lot of the coordination that they have as a team in these very desperate situations where they go, okay, we're dropping, we need this. And you just see 2 different players both pushing onto the AK player, making sure that drop is going to be safe, making sure that when you go for that plant, there's no way that someone's going to come for a crazy swing and be able to disrupt you. I really like to see that from teams where they can keep the coordination, where they can keep their composure in difficult circumstances.
Yeah, no, and speaking of composure, we didn't really see a lot of that from Blue Jays' talent. You think about to the clutches that almost happened from Chillwagon a lot of the times. In particular, Dexter and Bait Zera, sorry, I had to read my notes. Dexter and Bait Zera in particular, who were able to, well, Dexter finding the successful clutch, Bait Zera almost finding the successful 1v5 clutch on that gym bedroom defense. That showed a lack of composure and a lack of patience from Blue Jays' talent when they needed it most. It came through Icox in that second round. And when they needed it most on those basement attacks, they couldn't find it. They couldn't find those picks. They couldn't clear the angles. They couldn't keep a level head when it came to their utility and putting pressure on that last defense that we saw from Chillwagon before the half. And that's a good point to raise for Chillwagon, but it's also a great point to raise with Blue Jays, because with them, we know more about Blue Jays than we do about Chillwagon. We know their potential, but also we know their flaws. And this is something that they also struggled with in the Champions Series and in the Titan Series, the Champions playoffs, whatever. And also the Titan Series as well as in some of their minor leagues that I noticed too. So that's a great point to raise, but also for both teams, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on as the season evolves as well, because the more games you play, the more opportunities you have to make these big, impactful decisions that will change the outcome of a game. And I think this is one for this match. If this round, whichever way this round goes, I think is a massive deal breaker for both teams. And for the side of Chillwagon, being able to pick it up, being able to secure that is excellent. The question I now have is, okay, you're sitting in the position of Blue Jays. Do you return to the basement? Do you go for it again? That round came so close. What's your take here? Like, Sugar, come on. What do you think? Do you like seeing teams return to the same site? Would you rather that they just, okay, look, we failed it, we'll come back to it later, but we'll go somewhere else. We'll go to gym, we'll go to bar, and we'll come back later?
I'm not a big fan of teams returning to sites if they get slaughtered on it. That wasn't a slaughter from Chillwagon up until the last few seconds. And Blue Jays talent made it close. The only flaw that they really did have was not applying too much pressure or enough pressure with their lone flanker on the top of stairs. And I feel like maybe if they adjust a few things, maybe have that lone flanker that lone roamer with another player from Blue Jays talent, that they could waste a lot more time that they did and force Chillwagon into the same angles that they were forced to when they attacked on that same site. So I'm fine with Blue Jays returning back to that same site if they change a few things up. Again, more aggressive roaming, look to waste more time, put pressure onto the attacks when they take the middle floor so aggressively, because that's also what Chillwagon didn't do on their defenses on basement neither. They didn't apply much pressure onto the first and second floors, and the only reason why they won was because Blue Jays talent didn't have the composure in the executions.
Yep. Well,
And they're
we
gonna go
will
back
get to find out now. Yeah, they are. But they're changing the lineup quite a bit here, right? We're seeing the Goyo come in, we're seeing the Vigil, and we're seeing the Echo. And I have to say, of all these operators, I think the Vigil and the Echo coming in are great responses to the last round. Okay, we talked about it, and you said you don't like seeing teams return to the same site. I personally completely agree with you. I would much rather see a team try something else, take that refresh time to come back to basement again, and you go, all right, we know what we did wrong, we can play it again, we can fix our mistake, whatever. Even if you just leave one round gap so you can play it on round 3 and then you can play it again on round 6 when it becomes unlocked, if you win, which is obviously ideal. Look, they're bringing it back early. And they have this Echo, which I think is going to be a great job at just hiding those yokais. You play with one a little bit more actively, you keep one hidden away inside of Armory, maybe even in pocket if you think you can get it deployed out later, but you hide it somewhere sneaky, you hide it somewhere crafty, and then you just drop it down to deny the plant in the last 16 seconds. You've also got that Vigil now, who is a much better operator at stalling out time, at causing problems if they're not taken out early, and the aggressive trades coming in very quickly up on the balcony. Poor Denio, just trying to make sure he doesn't allow anything to slip through the cracks. Lenovo taking a little bit of damage from some chip shots, but Mudder, last killer, he's looking for yet another one. The drone's coming through. He's dropped right into Buck's opening, giving up the first kill to Dexter, and that is not how you wanted to start this round. The whole point of this Vigil is to play for time, and they've lost more than they had in the last round.
Bit off more than he can chew. That's not...
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. I'm not gonna lie to you. Not at all. I thought that was a little bit too much from last killer. He could have ran back into CCTV cache despite the angles that Chillwagon opened up onto the second floor, or even just played more with his teammates. Another point that I would like to raise that you talked about with the Echo, he can support the players on site and he can deny plant, but also he can support his roamers too with those echoes. And I've seen teams do that a lot, where they play really, really well on the roam around the echo zone, more specifically in A teams in the digital athlete league, which is in A league, and it's at the same level of talent league. And I've seen a lot of teams do that. And it's like a really, really good play around the echo. That was a really nice shot from Icox. Perfect game sense to predict the jump in from A7, and he finds that kill. And that's what Blue Jays need. They didn't need last killer to play too over aggressive. They needed that shot though from Icox to level the man count.
Well, that is a good way to bring it back to parity. For a moment, I thought Icox was going to bot the Echo there, but instead deciding to allow his teammate to pass. And that's obviously ideal, right? You want to keep your teammates alive. Avoiding team kills is, well, so I've heard, a pretty good thing to do. But with dirt pressure starting to be applied, that does force JSR to fall back, maybe in towards Church, especially as we're seeing Dex here now continuing to open up this kitchen. Denio looking to move through bar as well, still kind of wary of a potential roamer lurking around strip side, unaware that the alibi of Icox has fallen back down to the basement. Maybe those sprays will give it away though, and that can be their call to go, yep, we can start to apply a little bit more pressure, we can start to move a little bit further onwards. But you're looking at this time, despite the early loss of the Vigil, 30 seconds, and they're still posturing around this kitchen hatch, looking for the opening. I believe that the Moto hatch has been opened up by this time, which does give them another option for the drop, but Icox still hanging onto this bomb, just playing so close around the box. Denio gets injured out, will be finished off by Lenovo. 16 seconds for the drop, the feet of the Habana sticking over the top, but it will be Icox to lose out in that gunfight. 3 versus 3 situation, the flashbangs starting to ring on out. A lovely shot by JSR to find the kills. He swings around, the last player alive, it is the Habana. The Goyo canister popped to their feet, forcing them to move around, and Lenovo jumping in at just the right time to catch off the rotation to deny any space and finish off the round. And that is exactly what we wanted to see last time around. When the time gets so low, make sure you're punishing it. Find these individual players from Chillwagon who just are forced to make a play, who are forced to bring something to the round, and they did that perfectly.
At the beginning, it looked very scary for Blue Jays' talent, especially when you saw Lenovo, oh no, sorry, not Lenovo, last killer go down as quickly as he did, jumping over the rafters. Not a very good decision from him, but Icox getting the savior in that round with only that one kill, but also Lenovo showing up with the 3K, JSR finding one into the, from that late dirt push that Chillwagon were trying to pull off. And now, Blue Jays, again, this is a very close game so far, and I didn't expect it to be close because of my lack of intel on Chillwagon, but also I'm happy that it's this close because Chillwagon are showing that while they are not the favorites today, they can still compete, they can still shoot their guns, they can still play with the big boys, and that's what they're doing so far.
Yeah. And now we're going to see the gym bedroom come out of the side of Blue Jays, running that basement twice, eventually able to get the win. And again, going for a very similar setup to Chillwagon. I think this is just because a lot of teams realize the importance of having that space across the whole of the top floor. You're looking at cache, you're looking at server, you want to hold on to that. Well, because there's the balcony. And you see these windows that we just saw Icox perfectly highlighting for us, is that if you just give that space to the attackers for free, they can put so much pressure on the rotations instead of sight that when they go for their execute, if they have that jacuzzi breach opened up as well, it's so much harder to find space to react to the attacker's moves. So you want to play for as much time as possible on cache side, so that when you inevitably lose that control, because you will lose that control, but when you do, you're still in a very comfortable position to just start to play for that timer and force the attackers to make mistakes. That opening will actually give an interesting line of sight onto the feet of anyone playing that mirror windows. We're seeing the sprays come out, not quite landing on their mark, but because it's been placed on that right-hand side, looking towards the window, there's a little bit of a longer line that can be drawn. Bait Zero opening up from the top of Garage, looking to try and assist in applying pressure onto the Frost top of Red Stairs. But so far, unable to get rid of this camera, which is relaying a lot of information to the rest of Blue Jays.
Minute 40 left inside of the round. Again, this is what's been happening between both of these teams on the attack. They kind of do this thing where they stall out just like a little bit, and it's not like Chillwagon are, I mean, they are kind of stalling out at the moment. So, bad choice of words, I was going to sit there and say, no, they're not going to stall out time. No, they're stalling out time. They have many of them. He can vision on these middle part of the stairs. Gonna activate that hill. ability that the Nook has. Gonna silently sneak up these stairs. Gonna play a little bit patiently, lurking
Able
around
to just walk
the
in.
area of
Nope.
this site. He just almost walked in, but RPG quick on a trigger, quick on a flip, finds that onto Denion. So now that's that lurk potential, that extra bit of pressure from Chillwagon now going. So now most of this push is happening on the outside. Okay, now it's not happening anymore from that gym bedroom window, but now it is happening on the other side of the map. Since Denio does fall, Mountain is going to retake that position, whereas the last two players for Chillwagon and Dexter and A7 are still attacking into the structure. They haven't dealt with this mirror window up until now, and time is getting low, and he swings into that Dexter.
Hey, fair play. You get that breach open, you expect the player to move away, but Last Killer able to get not one more, but two more kills from that position. The rest of Chillwagon just not expecting the Frost to be lurking so tight. That was 3 kills in the round just by playing against the conventional means, right? You're playing behind a mirror window. The mirror window gets opened up by Ace. What do? Well, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to fall back. You're supposed to look for the next line of defense, wait for the attack to push in. Maybe you can get aggressive when they try to do something about you. But no, instead, he just sits there. He sits in the breach at crouch height and just waits. Buck walks around the corner, not expecting such an aggressive position, and gets heavily punished for it. That's excellent play around the understanding of what your opponents think you're going to do.
That was weird, but you know, sometimes you have to do weird plays to come out
Look,
on
okay.
top.
Yeah, sure. Like,
Unexpected.
it's definitely a little bit weird, right? But
Yeah, no.
some of the greatest things you'll ever see, some of the greatest plays come from these moments of just sheer, why are you doing that? Throw our minds back, right? G2 versus EG at the Paris Major Final. We see the Kavira come out on bank. These are the plays that you love to see, where it's just, why are you doing that? That should never work. And when it does, boy, is it beautiful. And just to see someone just change up the script, throw a curveball in there and be rewarded for it as a one-off thing, that's something that having a player who is willing to take the round into their hands to go, okay, this is something that might be a little bit trolled, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to take this 50-50 risk. I'm going to play for it, and we're going to play on the emotion that our team, the other team, is just not going to properly address me. And that's exactly what happened. And now they get to move on to another site. They're going back to cash server. This one's a little bit interesting, right? But you're seeing the Azami, JSR, using these Kibas to just extend this hold. And just, I mean, you look at that. Lance Killer's perspective down into here, it's just like, the whole point of Rafters is that there are these gaps that you can abuse. There are these gaps you can find opportunities for kills. Those are gone now with the addition of those Kibas, and it makes it a lot harder to root anyone out.
It's a different iteration of what Chillwagon did on their defenses as well. With Chillwagon, they played the Kiba Bears a little bit more aggressively onto like the garage door, and they kept like throwing it at the, not necessarily at the Monty, but blocking those extra lines of sight for the Monty to slow him down, make him de-shield to knife those Kiba barriers. But Malkson finds the first kill from Office into what looks to be sight onto Icox. So first kill in favor of Chillwagon. They're not going for that CCTV wall that you see teams do, because you get that wall open, you deal with Raptors, you can get a plant down as easy as that. Then you'll find another, again on this west side of the map, and it's obvious where the push is coming from. Looks to be an execute towards cash.
Removing the Kiba, checking out the concussion to test, and also just to make it a little bit harder to retake. There's only 3 players for Blue Jays left standing, but they have good crossfire positions. The run straight on in, though, bypasses the ability for JSR to interact. Going to use the Kiba to try and deny the rotation through the window, but it does not matter. The rush from Byte Zero just straight on through, takes out the smoke, and just lines up for the double kill. It's a little bit unfortunate on the timing, but beautiful play from the Sledge, just pushing in aggressively, just taking the risk. And again, players being rewarded for their ballsy plays.
It's been like that the whole entire game. Just whoever can, not only like we talked about composure just a little bit, but also who's willing to take those chances
Defenders,
Yes.
protect your
to
bombs from
find
being
the
defused
picks
by
that they
attackers.
need to. Chillwagon have done that plenty of times, so have BLUEJAYS talent. Through Icox in particular, who is 1-3 at the moment, but that's because of the host, not because of anything like too bad, not because he's not playing terrible at all. He played really well in the attacking half, I might say. He did a lot of things that I thought were right for the attack, and just most times the team just couldn't pull it together, and there were times where maybe he could have done more. But then again, that's the whole story for everybody in this lobby so far when it comes to their attacking half. Now, BLUEJAYS talent gonna be picking that basement site. Again, we don't see the first floor site. Again, it's been CCTV catch, which I've seen more commonly as of today. I haven't seen it a lot as of recently, and we've already explained that just a little bit. But I think it's been, what, 50-50, or not 50-50. It's been pretty positive today on defensive win rates on CCTV catch today.
Yeah, I think defensive teams have done a good job, but I also want to say that I think that's partially just due to the rounds that they've won have just been from smart play by the defense. A lot of the time the attack are still getting these advantages. I mean, the keeper play to shut down the Monty, that was great to see, but otherwise it still has been that sort of attacking leaning side where you're seeing teams really taking the opportunity to just open up holes in the side of the defense, and it's difficult for them to overcome. We're seeing BLUEJAYS leading this charge by himself through strip, using that jackal, using those footprints to just check his surroundings, right? Obviously a drone is still going to be a superior information tool, but if you see the footprints, you know that someone playing around. You can scan them out and get that exact location, and then you know where might be safe, where may not be. You can just play around that extra information a little bit more. This clear on the top floor is a little bit slower than we saw from the side of BLUEJAYS, but that's been the recurring trend for Chillwagon. The last 2 times they've attacked this site, they haven't really done any gunfights down or been prepared to drop until 30 seconds left, and I don't expect that to change. Last Killer also hasn't fallen away as early on as he did the first time around, which means that there's extra presence, that extra sort of mystery to the side of this defense.
I also want to add this a little bit off topic, not really because we're talking about Siege, but it's nice to see people running the silencers more. Of course, with the changes to the silencers, there is no recoil, not recoil changes. There is like no recoil nerf when using the silencers, so recoil is just the same. But with the silencers, you get those no threat indicators. It's damage. Oh, sorry, it was the damage. It was the damage tag. My fault. Oopsies.
Good.
It's all good,
Yeah, I think that losing the tracers and then not having to lose damage as a compensation for that means that if you miss your first couple shots, you get a little bit less harmed by it. But the self-nade from the sledge, trying to drop it through the hole, that's not a great start. Dex here does make up for it a little bit, using the smoke to play aggressively around this mirror window, is able to challenge down long, and then sneak his way into Moto. He's very low on HP though, finds a second kill before anything can be done about it. BLUEJAYS now really on the back foot as he swings. BLUEJAYS going to find one on Raptor. That's the smoke going down as well, and it's all left for JSR, but Chillwagon, they just decided to win. They've just dropped, they've collapsed, they've pushed in hard and fast, and it's a repeat of the first defensive round of the second half, where the timer got low, it looked a little bit like they might be on the back foot, but they just drop, they find all the kills necessary. I don't know what it is, just the individuals on this roster just being able to win those ones in important situations, just to push them over the edge. But that has nearly done it. They are on match point here. BLUEJAYS, 5 rounds. They are very close, just one more to force that overtime. But Chillwagon will be looking to end this game here and now to secure maximum points.
Might just see overtime. I'm betting on overtime at this point. I could totally see it with both of these teams and the way that they're both consistently winning rounds. It's not one team that's like completely dominated the other, but instead it's been 2 teams battling it out with the equal skill level. I don't know how to say that word, but equal skill level at this point. You could argue though that at this point with the scoreboard, that the individuals for Chillwagon are doing a hell of a lot better than BLUEJAYS' talent is at the moment. So that's, again, may I remind you, the rehost happened, so the scoreboard has been reset. But Dexter in particular, and also BLUEJAYS stepping up huge for Chillwagon when they need it most.
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see how this last round plays out. Obviously, Blue Jays able to win the gym bedroom defense last time they played it on the third round of the half. But, don't know, it will be interesting to see because I think there's lots of opportunities now for Chillwagon to push this advantage, to push themselves over the edge. The castle barricades continuing to be set up in a way that denies a lot of vision, including the angle that worked out quite well for them last time, but Mal able to get the first pick onto Lenovo. That's that red spot cleared out. Interesting throw of the Nitro Cell there. I have a feeling that might have been a slight misclick. But with red cleared out now for Chillwagon, that gives them a lot of space to push into cash, to push into construction and start to apply some pressure onto the construction mirror window. Just droning it out to make sure there's no one else has refilled that position, no one else who could catch them out. That will be their sign to lunge a little bit further in. I'm going to take out that bulletproof camera, though. You don't want to give too much free information away. The long angle has been opened up right from the back of Master Bit of the gym. You can see there, just looking over the bed, but so far no one holding that angle too aggressively. Last Killer watching to the stairs because that's where the Nook tried to creep up last time. Great body block on the Twitch camera to preserve that mirror window for a little bit longer. Don't know if that was the actual intention there, but when it works out, it works out. Oh no, the mirror window did go. Never mind.
They zapped them through the body, it seems, and they lose that extra layer of protection in logistics. Icox, first floor, whereas the rest of his team look to be defending site. That's a nice shot to put them level, but Bait Sarah puts them back into the lead. You see teams on this gym bedroom site when they lose control of CCTV cash, they start to crumble, and it looks like it's the same for Blue Jays talent. Though they fight back. Saw a bit of a potato there from Bait Sarah. 1v2, now 1v1. Last Killer. Can you put your team into OT? Last player, it seems, for Chillwagon is in construction. He's going for a flank. But Sophia know about it. Open shot. Trade shots back. Malk is not even shooting back. And Last Killer's missing all of his shots. Malk low on HP, lower than Last Killer. Last Killer sits himself side and off. Malk has the diffuser as well, has control of the site, has the utility to play behind, use those concusses himself. Still playing around the site, has a drone. It's gonna doesn't see the last player. Last Killer still sitting inside of logistics. Malk could just plant here.
5 seconds left.
But then Last Killer would know about it. I thought he was gonna fall through the hatch. 3 seconds
He's got
left.
so little time.
Attackers are activating.
He does, but he's still gonna get the diffuser down. Does he find the kill? No, he misses every single shot. And it's Last Killer to find the clutch. Put his team into overtime. A 3K from him in the round. Puts him onto the scoreline of 7-3. 7 kills, 3 deaths.
Bomb diffuser
And we're heading into
defenders.
OT.
Defenders win.
This is what happens. I don't want to say this is completely the reason, but when you're in that LMG mindset for so long, you can pre-fire absolutely everything. And seeing what happened there, he ran out of bullets. In the last 1v1, after getting the diffuser down, he ran out of bullets in the magazine. And that's because when playing on that bathroom door, when not quite sure where Last Killer was going to be coming from, he sprayed through the rotation, he sprays through the doorway, but he doesn't give himself that time for a reload. And that ultimately cost him so heavily. If you have 150 bullets and you spend, heck, 120 spraying all over the map, you still have a normal-sized magazine. You do that in an AR, you're left high and dry. And I mean, pushing it to overtime, Blue Jays, great job specifically from Last Killer, who twice on Gym Bedroom has pulled in 3 kill performances to bring his team to this position. And now they start on attack. This is for me where it gets a little bit interesting. They lost both times attacking into the basement. This is the site that Chillwagon are comfortable on. This is the site that they know how to play. And they get to jump to it straight away, once again bringing that cap can just to try and throw a little bit of a curveball here, right? You set those EDDs down. If someone isn't quite careful enough when droning, if the timer gets low, then you're going to walk through it. But I think that actually might be okay for Blue Jays. Consistently, they've had good pacing on their own clears.
They've had good pacing on their own clears, but their executions are where they fall short on when it comes to time. Another, you know, I have an interesting statistic. Every time that Blue Jays talents play on CCTV Cash, whether it is them attacking it or them defending it, or not CCTV Cash, sorry, Gym Bedroom, every time it's them attacking or defending that site, they won it 100%.
Yep.
So I think I just thought I'd throw that statistic in there. Some quick maths. I'm usually not very good at math, but I do enjoy doing it when I can do it right. Speaking of doing things right, first kill for Blue Jays talent. They catch Malk by himself. They catch him sleeping. Chillwagon, they try and have a player extend on that first floor. That's the first time they've done it on this basement defense, but it comes at a cost.
Yeah, now losing that Nitro Cell early on, able to shoot out the cluster charge, which is nice. Only one of those pucks being dropped down through. ICOC's going to go for a second one again, just trying to force them players back, continuing to throw them out, denying any impact tricking. I think this is a big part of it, right? Is because that's one of the most effective ways at shutting down a plant, shutting down the hatch, getting open on up. Still able to land the first impact and the second one, but that does leave the Melusi out of pocket. Now just holding this angle, watching up towards the Havana, who is safely placing these from a good distance. Means that they should be able to avoid this shot until at least the hatch is destroyed. But it's taking a lot more time than you'd want to.
It's taking a lot more time because they're getting impact rate. That was twice. Denio loses both of those. I believe it is him and A7 playing under that hatch. And they both use all 4 of the impact nades that they have together. Denio finds one onto RPT. That's the Habana down. So if they wanted to rotate to get Moto Hatch, if they haven't already, I believe Cox with those hard breach gadget, he loses 2 of them. So he might have used it on Moto. And the timing there, almost fighting Lenovo. Yeah, it's just a little bit Daniel swinging aggressively, finding a lot of damage on to the Ayano playing in dirt.
Yeah, and that was the angle that we saw before. Denio holding through towards the freezer doorway that was able to net the kill. The Magnet catching that frag grenade being thrown towards dummies, letting them hold onto that position for just a little bit longer. As the shots ring through, nothing's really showing for it. Flashbangs finally landing, making this position a little bit more difficult for Dexit to try and contest against as they're starting to push it in through the doorway, but it's not enough. They trade out kills first of all. Icox goes down, but JSR still in sight. Diffuser in pocket, never mind, he's been shut down very quickly. His last killer is pushing down the main corridor, is able to try and get some refrags out. Dexter take a little bit of damage, but ultimately it's the can trap in the church doorway that finds the kill. Shuts down the sledge, pushing on the other angle, and Lenovo on 1 HP has 13 seconds to find the 1 versus 2 clutch. He's going to have to make the most of it. Again, the magazine not the most favorable for the situation, but he finds the first. He knows that the last has skated back somewhere from Generator. There's 2 seconds on the timer. There's not enough for him to find the final pick. He's run up secret. He's hidden away. And Chillwagon are able to hold onto the round ever so tightly. That was slipping through their fingers. The clutch situation, if it hadn't been for that Capcan trap, I have a bad feeling that that goes in the way of Blue Jays. So unfortunate to lose out that way, and that is such a sneaky Capcan, because you're not going to hit it. You can't afford to look into the corner to shoot that one out. If you're pushing down that corridor, you go through the doorway, you're going to get hit.
Also, another thing to note about that 2v2, you mentioned that both players from Chillwagon were kind of hunkered down into blue until one of them decides to just rush up into secret, leaving their teammate to die inside of that area. The Fuser was also dropped inside of sight, and initially that looked very scary for Chillwagon when we saw the split push come in from main stairway, the bottom of main stairs, and also dirt, because the flashes came in. Denio couldn't see anything. The Melusi for the side of Chillwagon was also very distracted with the fight happening on main stairs and couldn't really support the dirt push with the best of their abilities. You saw them kind of potato a little bit with the sidearm, and that happens when the heat starts to get to you, the pressure starts to get high, and then it just ended with that smart movement from one of the 2 players from Chillwagon inside of blue, just deciding to rush up secret, not take the individual gunfights, which you love to see in this type of tournament. So pretty nice stuff there from Chillwagon. Got a little bit scary at the end. Smart placements with the Capcan traps on that church doorway allowed them to win that round, like you said, single-handedly.
It's become a little bit more interesting now as well, because you have... Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting for Chillwagon, right? You're playing onto a site which they've had mixed results on. Blue Jays going into this basement, they've won it twice, they've lost it once. Oh, sorry, they've lost it twice, actually. Now I didn't think about it. So, this is going to be difficult. Again, the timer always gets low when Chillwagon are attacking. But twice they've been able to overcome that time, and they've just been able to find the frags necessary. Last Killer looking to get a little bit aggressive inside of Lounge, actually. I guess it's to try and throw off the pace, right? If you can find an opening pick, even if you end up dying, you get that 1-for-1 trade, it makes going for these numbers plays at the end of the round just a little bit harder. If you're down to only 4 or 3 players by the time you get there. The drones should be coming through this top floor, though, as Last Killer looking for that Yana, who's just playing around, hasn't quite realized the presence nearby. But that's the death sentence for the Thunderbird. You're being pinged out, they know exactly where you are, and they're going to start to collapse. You also know that those footprints have been scanned in Lounge, so you can't come down red stairs. Your best bet's probably jumping down Garage.
I think that's what he's going to do. Maybe jump down Garage into Oil Pit. But no, he's going to stick his position on the second floor. Jackal might have to go hunting for this on the second floor because there is nobody else from Chillwagon to find that kill, to find that fight against Last Killer. And with the spear in hand for Last Killer, you may not want to directly take a fight, but Daniel does. He finds it, though Icock finds the quick trade back. And now, even main count with 55 seconds left to go, you lose your Zofia, so that's a lot of important utility. Now, going for the attackers when it comes to the execution side of things, you think of the concussives, you think of the impact of being able to delete some of the defender utility, but most importantly, losing those concussives in the execution moments when you need to deny the vision for Blue Jays' talent or just kind of screw them up a little bit. It's kind of crucial. And at this point, Chillwagon, they find themselves low on time again. This basement defenses haven't been too kind to them, and neither has Lenovo. 5-3 at the moment.
Well, the drop comes in, getting that diffuser down on the bomb. Has to try and push for AKs to get this position. Is it being covered from the hatch? It is. The coverage is good. The trade comes through. JSR shuts down Dexa. The plant disrupted for the time being. They're going to have someone else drop as the Habana's been injured out. It's effectively a 1v2. He's going to stick the revive. They have to pick up that diffuser and get it planted. The timer's so low. He's in the open. They should be able to shut this down, even just with a gun. And there they go. The Yokai not required for Blue Jays to hold on, being forced to plant in a difficult position right in the open because there was less than a second on the clock. And you have to commend him for going for that revive first, appreciating that, like, okay, look, I'm going to need my teammate alive to cover me, otherwise I'm going to get pushed by 2. But it's still a ballsy move to just try and stick it where you can. I mean, even if you just spend... No. That's unfortunate for him, actually. I'm not even going to start pretending that you could move into a better position because there was literally no time left on the clock. That was unfortunate for them, but that's what happens when you leave this timer so low. And you're looking at the site rotation now, Sugar. Like, they have to go back to the top floor. JSR instantly bringing out that Monty, knowing this is where they're going to go, because, well, you're not going to bring Barstock out if you haven't touched it all game. You're not going to go back to Gym Bedroom, which you've lost twice when defending. This is your next best site, but it's still a 50-50 chance. I want to see Blue Jays play a little bit more actively around this garage door, because if they're throwing the same keepers out to disrupt this Monty push, they need to deal with it faster.
No, I agree with you on that. I think the main issue, or at least in the second round on the same site in regulation with Chillwagon, when they were trying the same strat, they played it much better, but also you can argue that Blue Jays talent played that a lot more because there was no extra pressure around the Monty. So Blue Jays talent end up fixing that main issue. Chillwagon could find themselves in a little bit of trouble, but the thing about that is that I feel like they, at the same time, they won't, because they have so much utility behind this Kiba barrier. So sometimes, usually if teams find themselves struggling with Raptors, maybe they'll reroute their push to like construction or whatever, but it doesn't look like Blue Jays talent are going to do that. It's very early, so it's not like they ran into trouble already using their utility to make extra lines of sights in Garage, but the lines of sights being blocked by the Kiba barriers to waste more time, to waste more utility outside of the and they can't even get this. Okay, finally.
That's where I'd be tempted to just go for a melee instead. A little bit of early damage onto JSR, exposing himself on the side angle to the Azami. You've got Dexter once again playing on this lower garage. This time holes in the garage wall make it a little bit harder for him to actively play this. Last Killer looking up above for any potential frags, but so much damage taken on JSR. without even having taken that much space inside. I'm surprised he's being able to be ticked away as much as he has been. Now that this wall is opened up, though, it does make it a little bit harder for the Azami to play peacefully on the corner of Rafters. You can see the wall just being blown completely open as Icox peppering some shots down to Dexter as well, they're all just continuously struggling to hold these positions, yet finding really tight spots to hold on.
Still suffering a lot of damage again. Not a lot of support around the Monty now. Last Killer moving himself inside. He can find an easy kill. There he goes. Smart movement from Last Killer.
Nice.
Now they can easily get control of Raptors. JSR finds the second. Bates there though. Finds a nice headshot. Almost just his own teammate. But realizes that the orange outline
User
with
has been
teammate
dropped.
Danio leaves him in a 1v situation. But again, it's just Last Killer. Or not Last Killer, sorry. But again, Last Killer or whoever that was, I can't remember. But Blue Jays talent, 8-7 win. First 3 points of the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was an impressive win for them, and they just played it very tightly right till the end. I think ultimately Chillwagon just not having that versatility on their defensive side cost them heavily. Not feeling comfortable to go to that gym bedroom, not having a brilliant hold onto Cash either. It's always difficult when it comes down to this, right? Because Clubhouse is a map that for so long was considered the defender-favored map, and as teams are starting to figure out how easy it is to kind of open up some of the disadvantages, to kind of expose defender weaknesses, we need teams to start evolving, and teams need to start bringing something a little bit different to the table. And ultimately, it was Blue Jays that adapted better to what their opponents were doing, and that's what's helped them bring the win.
Yeah, in particular, that last round where we talked about the flaws for Blue Jays talent, the fact that they didn't have enough pressure around the Monty. And when the Monty got pressured in that very last round, you saw the readjustment come in from, I believe it was, I think it was JSR, whoever was on the sledge for Blue Jays talent, just sneaking into the bottom of garage and swinging onto Amai when he expected it. And then they got the easy control onto the top of Raptors. So some really good adjustments there from the previous attack on that same site where Blue Jays talents failed in that department. Though they get the 3 points today, they were in the lead in terms of the predictions, and they were the early bird to the worm, the early bird to those 3 points. It was a very close game up until the end, so you got to give Chillwagon a pat on the back here, even if you are a huge fan of the Blue Jays talents. But before we head into our next game for today, we will be going on to a 5-minute break, so we'll see you soon.